Assalamu Alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. This is Laurence Galian, Abdullah Muzaffer. Recently I was asked to recount my first night with the Jerrahi dervishes. So I've decided to do a short video explaining what happened and how I ended up with the Jerrahis. It was about 1980, and I was playing synthesizer in a new wave rock band. I had long hair. It was dyed purple, yellow, and blue. And I used to take the bus from Hempstead, Long Island, into New York City, where we would rehearse. So one day I was in the bus station and there was a used bookstore there. I loved used bookstores. I found this slim volume, and the cover kind of reminded me of the Carlos Castaneda books. So I think it was only a quarter the book. I purchased it and I read it. It was a work of fiction about Sufism, and I loved it. But after finishing reading it, I thought to myself, when am I ever going to have the money to go to the Middle East to meet dervishes? Remember, at that time I was about 28 years old and still struggling as a new wave musician. Less than 48 hours after finishing the book, one evening I had been taking a nap, and when I woke, I just turned on my stereo, and it was preset to WBAI, the radio station on the FM dial where Lex Hickson, Sheikh Nur, had his radio program in the Spirit. And the first words that came out of my stereo speakers were, "I would like to introduce you to Sheikh Muzaffer, a Sufi sheikh from Istanbul, Turkey." Now I was amazed. I had just finished reading this book about dervishes and Sufis, and here, coming out of my stereo speakers, was going to be a Sufi sheikh. Well, Efendi, as we call him, came on the radio speaking in Turkish. For 45 minutes he spoke in Turkish. That's one of the wonderful things about Sheikh Nur. He just would let his programs evolve. He flowed like water flows, and it was very beautiful that he just let the resonance of Effendi's voice speak to the hearts of the listeners. And indeed, Effendi's voice reached my heart, and I stayed glued to that radio. Finally, Sheikh Nur, Lex Hickson, came back on again and said, "Sheikh Muzaffer will be in New York for one more day. If you would like to meet him, come down to 155 Mercer Street tomorrow night." I think he said 7:30, 8 o'clock, something like that. Well, I showed up the next night, and I'm an early bird, so I showed up early. I pressed the buzzer. I just heard a lot of static, And I said, "I'm here to see Sheikh Muzaffer." I waited. Nothing happened. No buzzer. Door didn't open. So I decided I'd walk around a little bit, which I did. I walked around SOHO for about 20 minutes. Came back again, rang the bell, or the buzzer, said, "I'm here to see Sheikh Muzaffer." But this time, the door was opened by a very mysterious man with a French accent, a scarf around his neck, bald, and very cordially he said, "Welcome." And I walked into the Masjid al-Farah. And it took my eyes a while to adjust to what I was seeing, because this masjid was so immense. There were giant Persian carpets, larger than I've ever seen or imagined, spectacular lighting. The place just seemed to stretch into infinity. There didn't seem to be any end to the building. And the man who opened the door for me instructed me to please have a seat, and that soon the events of the evening would be starting. So I entered into the masjid, and the man who opened the door walked up the stairs and left me alone. I noticed there were many chairs set up. So I went and sat down, and the next thing that I noticed very quickly was that there was not another soul in the place. I was alone with myself, alone with Allah. As I sat there, I did consider for a moment bolting out the door. I did become a little nervous, wondering what I was getting myself into. But I held my ground, and gradually many people filled up the masjid, until there were literally hundreds of people inside there.